Today's lesson is Plus Talk, a trip to the optometrist. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Candice.
And today, Candice and myself are going to be talking about a trip to the optometrist. Remember, Ricky was experiencing eye strain. He asked his friend Mia for advice. She suggested he go to see the optometrist. So they've gone to the optometrist, and the optometrist has examined Ricky's eye. The optometrist thinks that Ricky has a case of myopia.
Yes, and as we mentioned, myopia is quite a common condition, and lots of people wear glasses because they have myopia, which means that they are nearsighted. In other words, they can only see objects close to them very well. Anything that is further away is usually a little blurry.
Okay, so we're going to continue talking about visiting the optometrist today. When you need to get a pair of glasses or a pair of contact lenses, you need to make some decisions about the frames and the lenses. At least when you get glasses, there are other considerations for contact lenses, which we'll talk about in today's lesson. But conversation number 3 is entitled Selecting Lenses, which are the glass parts of your glasses. Let's listen to their conversation right now.
3. Selecting lenses. Ricky has just completed the eye exam.
Now we're ready to choose some frames and lenses. We can do the lenses first.
Sounds good to me. What are my options?
I usually recommend high-index lenses. They're more than adequate for most people's needs. Some people like to add a lens coating.
And what are the lens coatings for?
They're to enhance performance. You could get a scratch-resistant coating, for example, or one that blocks the blue light from computer screens.
I do spend a lot of time in front of the computer. Let's go with high-index lenses and that coating then.
大家好，第一部分我们看到名词 frame 指镜框、框架或是骨架，像是 I prefer to wear glasses with wire frames because they look better on me. 我比较喜欢戴金属框眼镜，因为我戴起来比较好看。也可以说 My grandmother built wooden frames for the garden plants to grow on. 我奶奶建了木框架，让花园的植物在上面成长。接下来我们看到单字 adequate。这个字是形容词，表示符合需求的或是足够的。举例来说 Please check that we have adequate food supplies for the camping trip. 请检查我们的露营之旅有符合需求的粮食。或是 You should leave yourself adequate time to complete this assignment. 你应该为自己保留足够的时间去完成这份功课。另外补充这个字的反义词 inadequate. inadequate, inadequate, 指不充足的或是不够好的。例如 Many people consume an inadequate amount of fruits and vegetables. 许多人摄取的水果和蔬菜量不足。也可以说 Ruby's success always made her younger sister feel inadequate. Ruby 的成功总是让她妹妹感觉自己不够好。接着我们看到名词 coating 表示镀膜或是涂层，像是 The bottom of my car has a coating that keeps it from rusting. 我的车底有一层防止生锈的镀膜。或是 We guarantee that this coating will protect your car's paint for up to 10 years. 我们保证这层涂料可以保护你车子的烤漆长达10年。另外补充这个字的动词 coat, C-O-A-T, coat, 指涂在点点点上或是覆盖点点点的表面。例如 The donuts were coated in sugar. 甜甜圈被糖覆盖住。或者 The cavers emerged from the tunnel coated in dust. 洞穴探险家从隧道出来时一身灰尘。再来我们看到单字 enhance。这个字是动词，表示增强、增进、提高或是增加。举例来说 The device enhances existing security measures on the network. 那个装置增强了网络现有的安全机制。也可以说 The theater enhanced the viewing experience by adding high-definition screens. 那间电影院增加了高解析度萤幕，提升视觉体验。
Okay, so remember Ricky has gone to the optometrist and he has just completed the eye exam. He has undergone the eye examination. And the optometrist says, now we're ready to choose some frames and lenses. We can do the lenses first. So when you've determined that you need to wear eyeglasses, you need to get a pair of eyeglasses. You need to get a pair of glasses, spectacles, but you need to choose the frames and the lenses. The frames, of course, are the pieces of plastic or metal that hold the lenses in front of your face. And that, of course, is a difficult decision because you want to look your best. So you need to find a pair of frames, a set of frames that look best on you, but you also need to select the lenses.
Yes, we usually try to pick out frames that are going to flatter our faces, which means make us look good. Or maybe we want to go for a certain image, so we'll pick a frame, maybe a really bold frame, a really thick frame, or maybe we want a really light frame because it's important to us to not be weighed down by our glasses.
And we should mention that you can call it a frame or frames. Frames is plural because, of course, there are two sides, the left and the right. So it's usually presented as a plural noun. Get some frames, even though it only refers to one set of glasses for one person.
That's right. When we talk about glasses, we always use the plural form. So when you get your lenses, when I was growing up, usually if your eyesight was really bad, you would end up with really thick glasses and heavy glasses because they were actually made of glass. But of course, today we have a lot more choice.
Yeah, different kinds of glass and different kinds of materials are used to make those lenses. And Ricky says, well, sounds good to me. What are my options? Options, of course, are choices. And yes, indeed, when you select your lenses, the optician will present you with various choices or various options. They usually show you a book that shows what the lenses look like. They're going to reflect light in sunlight like this. And if you have a special coating, it will look like this. And this one's going to cost this much money. This one costs this much money. So yeah, you have those options to choose from in regard to lenses and frames.
Yeah, and usually should note that frames are more expensive than the actual glasses.
Exactly. Sometimes those frames can be quite expensive. I think it all has to do with some kind of factory in Italy or something like that. That's why frames are so ridiculously expensive. But in any case here, he's asking about his options for lenses, and the optometrist says, well, I usually recommend high-index lenses. Okay, so that's a special kind of lens, a special kind of glass for your eyeglasses. High-index lenses are basically lenses that are not very heavy, and they're very useful for people who have very high prescriptions, like 700 or above. You don't have to have these big, heavy pieces of glass sitting on your nose all day long.
Yeah, so the optometrist recommends them because he says they're more than adequate for most people's needs. Then some people also like to add a lens coating. So if something is adequate, it means that it is satisfactory, it is enough. And most people are happy with them if they are adequate. They fulfill those people's optical needs.
Exactly. So, of course, you got the glass, and then you can put another coating on it, which is a layer of something on top of the glass, which provides a certain kind of effect. Maybe it reduces refraction or all those distracting reflections in the glass. So when you go outside, it's easier to see. And the coating can also protect the glass in case they get scratched or something like that. The damage won't be so bad if you have this coating on the lenses.
Yes, and I think sometimes the coating would be a tint. We call it a tint when sunlight goes through the lens and it becomes almost like sunglasses. So sometimes the glasses are tinted, and in bright sunlight, they'll become like sunglasses and protect your eyes from really bright light.
I've got a coating on my glasses that will change colors, or it will become darker when I'm outside, and it will clear up when I go inside. It's quite convenient that way. I don't have to wear sunglasses separately, and that's an example of a coating. But Ricky is not so sure about what coatings are all about, so he's got a question. And what are the lens coatings for? Why would I want a coating on the lens? The optometrist says, well, they're to enhance performance. If you enhance something, you improve something. So, for example, if you have a car that drives okay, but you'd like it to drive a little faster, you might take it down to the mechanic to have something done to the engine to enhance its performance or to improve its performance.
Yes, and of course that same word applies to people too. So if you want to do better at something, if you want to enhance your own performance, maybe, for example, an athlete would train more or eat different kinds of foods in order to affect or change their performance and improve their performance. So in that way, they'll get better at what they do.
Exactly. Okay, so they will enhance performance if you have those coatings on the lenses. And the optometrist goes on to say, you could get a scratch-resistant coating. So that's one example of a coating. A scratch, of course, is a mark on the surface of something, usually made by a sharp object. Sometimes this happens if you park your car in the wrong spot, and the person who the spot belongs to discovers this. They might take their keys or something and scratch your car. So you don't want that to happen. Scratch can be both a noun and a verb. Here it's referring to a scratch as a noun, and the coating is scratch resistant. So, you know, if you take off your glasses and put them in your bag and they kind of rub up against your keys or something like that, well, you might get scratches on your lenses. If you have this coating on the lenses, well, you won't get scratched so bad because the coating is scratch resistant. It resists scratch, or it stops scratches, or at least reduces them.
Yeah, I think that's a great coating to have, especially if you have a lot of things in your bag and sometimes you just put your glasses straight in. Another coating that they have blocks the blue light from computer screens, which is quite useful if you work on your computer a lot. And as we know, the blue light from computer screens or from our devices can affect our eyesight. So if we can block some of that light or prevent the damage from that light, we probably want to get that coating.
Okay, that brings us to the end of conversation number 3. Let's move on to number 4, and we're learning about contact lenses, just in case you don't want to wear regular eyeglasses. Let's listen to their conversation now.
4. Learning about contact lenses. Mia has convinced Ricky to try contacts as well. So, have you worn contact lenses before?
No, never. I do know that they need to be cleaned well, or they can cause eye problems.
Well, that's if you're not wearing dailies. But I buy weeklies anyway. It'll work out cheaper.
It's completely up to you, of course. But many of my customers do prefer weekly lenses.
So, how exactly do I take care of them? I have to put them in a solution overnight, right?
That's right. And every morning you need to place each lens in your palm, cover it in solution, and rub it gently against your hand. Then rinse the lens before placing it onto your eye.
That sounds easy enough.
最后第二部分我们看到动词 convince 指说服使相信，像是 The little boy convinced his father to buy him a toy. 那个小男孩说服他爸爸买玩具给他。或是 The doctor's words convinced me that I need to start eating better. 医生的话使我相信我应该开始吃得更健康。
Okay, so conversation 4 is all about contact lenses. Lenses that contact your eye directly. They actually touch your eye. Some people might find that kind of strange, and some people will just get used to it.
Well, I think I fall into the prior category. I also find it an incredibly strange experience to put something in my eye, and I have quite a lot of difficulty with that. So if I were to wear contact lenses, if it were necessary, I think it would take a very long time to get used to it.
Indeed, it can be quite difficult to get used to contact lenses, but in any case here, Mia has convinced Ricky to try contacts as well. So here we've got the verb to convince. That means you persuade someone to accept what you want them to accept. So here she's persuading him to try contacts. She's trying to convince him to try contact lenses. And Ricky seems to accept her argument. Okay, I should try contacts. Thank you for recommending them. So she's convinced him, and now Ricky has accepted her proposition.
So at the optometrist, they discuss whether Ricky will get some dailies or weeklies. So dailies, I think, are the contact lenses that you have to discard or throw away daily. And the weeklies last a bit longer and can save you money. So you can wear the weeklies for a lot longer. They're more durable. They're probably a little bit stronger. And of course, if you don't have that much money, you want to think of ways to save some money. So Mia says, well, that's if you're not wearing dailies, but I'd buy weeklies anyway. It will work out cheaper because she says that if you clean them properly, you can avoid eye problems.
Right, so there are different types of contact lenses to wear. Dailies are worn every day, and then you throw them out. Sometimes these lenses are referred to as disposable contact lenses, and you're not supposed to wear them for more than one day. But then they have another special kind of contact lens that can be worn every week or for a full week. I suppose you need to take it out every night, though, still, but you can still wear them every day for a week. And I guess she thinks that the weeklies will work out cheaper because you don't have to throw them out every day. This reminds me of publications back in the day. Some of you might remember newspapers that came every day. Those were daily newspapers. And then a magazine, if it came out once a week, that was a weekly magazine, although most magazines were monthly magazines. Now I think everything is online, although I guess I still see newspapers for sale in convenience stores.
Yeah, I think you're right. Most things are online, but some do still publish online and paper. So then you do tend to get some daily newspapers like the Taipei Times that comes out daily. And then, of course, you also have weekly publications. For example, in South Africa, we've got a publication called the Sunday Times. So once a week, you get a really big newspaper online and on paper.
Cool. Okay, but in any case here, Mia says that she prefers weekly contact lenses that you can wear for 7 days, and then you throw them away. I suppose, again, you need to take them out every night, though, and soak them in some sort of solution. And the optometrist says, well, it's completely up to you, of course. It's your decision whether you want daily contacts or weekly contacts or hard contacts or soft contacts. But many of my customers do prefer weekly lenses. So according to this particular optometrist, he says that many of his customers, many of his patients, I suppose you could describe them as such, they prefer the weekly contact lenses, I guess because they're more convenient and they're more budget-friendly in the long run.
Yes, and one concern for Ricky is how does he take care of them? So as you mentioned, you would have to put them in some kind of solution to clean them. So he says, I have to put them in a solution overnight, right? Then the optometrist goes on to explain, and every morning you need to place each lens in your palm, cover it in solution, rub it gently against your hand, and then rinse the lens before placing it into your eye. So there are a few steps that you have to follow to maintain these contact lenses.
Exactly. So if anybody out there has worn contact lenses, you are very familiar with this procedure. You need to place the lens in the palm of your hand, and then you cover it with this solution. It's a special chemical that you buy separately, and then you rub it gently, and then you rinse the lens, which means you wash away the solution before you place it, well, into or onto your eye. Technically, you're putting it onto your eyeball, although people will say into your eye because it is going past your eyelashes. Into your eye or onto your eye, both are acceptable.
Yes, I would go with your first explanation, onto your eyeball or into your eye. Well, Ricky's quite convinced by that argument, and he says, oh, that sounds easy enough, so he's happy that he'll have the option of wearing contact lenses too.
Okay, so looks like his trip to the optometrist has been quite successful, although these things tend not to be very cheap. Eyeglasses and contact lenses can be quite expensive, so you should really know what you're doing before you make your purchase. I know that I would not buy contact lenses because I know I can't put them in my eyes, and I have astigmatism, and contact lenses won't work that way. So yeah, contact lenses are out for me. Regular eyeglasses will do just fine. Okay, that brings us to the end of our conversation for today, of our explanation for today. It's time now to turn things over to our dear Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分的对话有提到镜片镀膜，那么验光师告诉 Ricky 说，镜片镀膜是为了提升性能，比如说可以选耐刮镀膜啊，或者是能阻挡电脑萤幕蓝光的镜片镀膜。好，文中它是用 scratch resistant 来表达耐刮的，那么 scratch 它就有刮痕、划痕的意思。再来，如果是连字号 resistant 这个部分则常常跟名词来构成复合形容词，表达防什么什么的，抵挡什么什么的，它是用来表达部分主角的语义。像 water resistant 是防泼水的、抗水的， flame resistant 表示抗燃的、阻燃的， stain resistant 防污的， heat resistant 耐热的、抗热的。好，那补充一下，有时候我们还会看到名词后面接了 proof P-R-O-O-F， 这表示抗什么的、耐什么的。那它跟 resistant 的差异在于 resistant 是表达部分主角，那么 proof 则是表达完全主角。像 waterproof 就表示防水的、不透水的， bulletproof 防弹的， fireproof 防火的， soundproof 隔音的等等。好，那么课文第二部分的对话有谈到日抛、周抛的隐形眼镜。根据米娅的说法，周抛会比较便宜。那么验光师接着说，当然这完全取决于你，但有很多顾客的确比较喜欢周抛。这边他用到 up to you 来表达取决于你。我们来补充一下 up to 的不同意思及用法。那么第一种呢，我们可以用 up to 来表达多达、高达什么什么的意思，后面通常会接表示数字、数量等等的名词，像是 The stadium can hold up to 30,000 people， 那个体育场可以容纳高达3万个人。第二个呢，我们可以用 up to 以事物当主词的时候， something be up to somebody 这是表达什么什么是某人的责任，什么什么由某人来决定。像朋友可能问说，中午要吃饭还吃面，如果你没有差，你就可以回答说 It doesn't matter to me, it's up to you， 我没差，你决定就好啦。好，那么第三个呢，以人当主词的话，我们可以用 somebody be up to 加上名词或动名词，那这时候会有两种意思哦。第一个是表达某人有能力做某事，有能力去处理或执行某件事。例如 Do you think they are up to the challenge？ 你认为他们有办法应付那个挑战吗？好，那另外一个意思则是表达某人在计划某事，偷偷做某事，尤其是不好的事情。像有一个用语说 up to no good， 就可以用来表达图谋不轨的意思咯。好，那么第四个呢，我们可以用 up to 来表达跟 until 差不多的语义，像 up to yesterday 直到昨天， up to this point 到此刻为止，到目前为止。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Frame. I think square frames would suit your face shape better. Option. You have quite a few options available to you at the moment. Adequate. This jacket will be adequate for winter in Taiwan. Scratch. Mark was upset when he found a scratch on his scooter. Convince. Melanie convinced Oscar to join the math club.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Candice.
See you next time.